Okay, xin chào and welcome everyone to the FinTech podcast. And we're here again after our season 1 of blockchain. And today I'm very honored to have Mr. 𝗠𝗿, who is the CEO and co-founder of Papaya InsurTech, here with us to talk about InsurTech and also the journey of his entrepreneurship and some of the advices he would like to give to the young generation if they want to enter into this digital age. So, a brief introduction. Before becoming the CEO of Papaya InsurTech, Mr. 𝗠𝗿 was the corporate strategy manager in many big companies like B Group GSC and FWD Insurance. He is also the relationship associate head and CRM country coordinator at Citibank, and business PMO/country lead at Grab Kiosk. Regarding his education, Mr. 𝗠𝗿 graduated from the University at Buffalo with a Bachelor of Science, Industrial Engineering, and he also had a Master of Business Administration, um, of Consulting Management Finance. And of course, he's currently the CEO of Papaya InsurTech Company. And Papaya in Vietnam is one of the most famous leading InsurTech company. And Mr. 𝗠𝗿 was named as one of the top 5 most prominent startup in the Grab Venture Ignite. So welcome, Mr. 𝗠𝗿. We are really glad to have you here with us today.
Hi, thank you for the introduction, Cheng. It's great to be here as well, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk about InsurTech today on the podcast.
Okay, so let's kickstart with a question. So, what made you leave the banking industry and come back to Vietnam?
So actually, I decided to came back to Vietnam right away after school and joined Citibank here in Vietnam. And the reason that I chose to come back right away was I saw how dynamic the Vietnamese market is. There was a lot of new things that are being built here in Vietnam. A lot of new businesses are being created. And so I wanted to be a part of that journey. So I decided to come back to Vietnam, try and get out different things here in Vietnam.
And so, can you give us a brief introduction about Papaya and what values does the company bring to the market?
So Papaya is a technology company focusing on the insurance industry. And so our goal is to create a digital experience for everyone involved in the insurance industry, from the insurance company to the customers, to any third party like hospital and clinics, and using software so that the experience can be much better for everyone involved. And so that has been the focus for us since day one. Not just selling the insurance product, but actually focusing on how to make the usage of the insurance product much easier for the consumer.
So, what was your inspiration back then, and where did the ideas of founding InsurTech come from?
Yeah, it was from my time when I was with Ability Insurance, and I was fortunate at that time to join them when they just entered the Vietnam market. And so previously, during school or when I was working for banking, I have never thought of joining the insurance industry. But from that experience, I got to learn so much more about the industry, and most importantly, the value that the insurance product bring to the consumers, but also to the society. And it was the first time where I actually felt connected to the actual product of the company. Obviously banking, ride-hailing company does create values for the society, but particularly for the insurance product, I feel really connected to it. And I felt that it's unfortunate that not a lot of people in Vietnam has insurance coverage, and people still has that negativity towards insurance products. And I saw an opportunity there that we can use technology to make insurance product much more accessible to everyone and make it much easier to use. And so from that idea, I wanted to help more Vietnamese people get insurance product and be able to use it more easily. And that's when I started Papaya InsurTech about 3 years ago with my co-founder.
Is there a Is there a particular anecdote or, a situation that makes you really passionate about this product? Like, is there any case or any people that you met that are impacted by your solution?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a specific person, but during my time with Authority Insurance, one of the project I did was expanding their offices to other provinces in Vietnam. And so I get to travel around the country, meeting with insurance agents, meeting with the consumers of those provinces. And, from talking to them, from the stories I heard, how an insurance product had helped a lot of families go through very difficult times, particularly in the middle of Vietnam, where you have a lot of natural disaster, right? A lot of storm happening every year round. And unfortunately, it destroyed homes, destroyed families. And fortunately, some of the people, they have the insurance product to be able to have that money to continue their life and not selling their house or going into debt to be able to continue their lives. So from those stories, from those interactions, I truly felt that the insurance product is a safety net that is there to protect people when the unexpected happens. And that served as the inspiration for me to wanting to have more people to be able to access insurance products.
So, we have been doing some research in terms of user adoption and people in Vietnam who are educated in this field, and the stat is not so good because we found that only around 11% of Vietnamese people had life insurance, and that's a really small number. And why do you think like the number is still not that great yet? Is it because of the price, or is it because people are not educated yet? Like they can afford it, but they haven't heard about it. So what's the main reason? What's the main barrier?
Yeah, I think the barriers come from both, right? In terms of the pricing, but also about the awareness of the consumers about the insurance product. And so Vietnam is still lagging behind many Southeast Asia countries in terms of insurance penetrations versus Indonesia or Thailand. In more advanced countries like Singapore or Hong Kong, the a typical person would have on average a 1.5 to 2 insurance policies, right? Versus in Vietnam, only 10% of the people have insurance products. So I think the first thing is level of awareness, right? When we talk to consumers, people still don't fully understand why would you need an insurance product. And then secondly, insurance products tend to be very complicated. So it's very difficult for a normal consumer to really understand all the features of the insurance product, when you could claim it, in what situation you couldn't claim it. So there's a barrier of information for the consumer. But for the past few years, there have been an increasing trend of people trying to understand about insurance product. They realize the importance of it. But the barrier remains that the information about the insurance product is very difficult to find a trusted source or that can explain simply to the customer what the insurance product does. And secondly, you're right about the pricing. Insurance premium, especially for life insurance, has been seen as a premium product, right? Where you have to earn a certain level of income before you will be able to afford the insurance premium. And so those two contribute to why the level of penetration of insurance in Vietnam is still low. But I believe that a lot of the insurance company are innovating, creating new products that are more affordable, but also simpler to understand for the customers. So there's a lot of room for growth for the insurance industry in Vietnam.
What has Papaya been doing to narrow this gap in terms of you say information and also the pricing, right? Yeah,
Mm.
and so what are you guys providing to narrow the gap?
Great. So first of all, we still believe that the most effective way to introduce an insurance product to consumer is through agents. Right? We still rely on that face-to-face interactions to build trust, because at the end of the day, insurance product is really a product of trust. You buy something that promise to pay out in the future when something unfortunate happens, either to your house, your health, your life, or your car, right? And so people need that human interaction before they are convinced to purchase an insurance product. So what we have been focusing on lately is to provide tools for the sales agent. First of all, to be able to give choices to the customers. They can see different type of different insurance product from multiple insurance company from a single agent. And then secondly, we created materials so that it's easy for the agent to explain to the customer about the benefits of the product, but also about the cases where the insurance product will not pay out. So it's very important to let the customer know before they purchase the insurance product what are the things that they will not be paid down the line. And so we're focusing a lot on that, with the materials for the sales agent to send out to the customer, make it easy for them to understand, highlights for them the pros and the cons of the different insurance products. And then most importantly is to explain clearly to them what is the claim process. That's the most frequent question that we got asked is, if we purchase this, how do we claim it? So we explain to them the process, and we work with the insurance partner that we partner with to develop an easy to use claim process with them. So that the customer doesn't feel so overwhelming with all the paperwork needed to claim.
Okay. So I want to draw your attention to a company in the US, so Lemonade. It's a successful InsurTech company in the US, and the business model is pretty much focuses on providing, insurance solution for individuals. But from our research, we found that Papaya chooses to provide insurance and welfare for target customers who are in or belong to an organization or a company rather than individuals. So is there a rationale behind it?
So I think when we started out our journey, we really wanted to make the claim experience for the insurance customer much easier. And when we look into different type of insurance product, the one that we can really help is in health insurance, where we can help the process to be much faster. You can submit documents online, and we can introduce automation into it. And so naturally, health insurance in Vietnam are mostly provided by companies. Not a lot of individuals purchase health insurance for themselves yet. And so our natural customer in the beginning is these corporates that already purchase health insurance for their employees. And we give them a solution so that their employees can use their health insurance plans much easier. And much less paperwork, reduce down the time needed to complete the claim. But nowadays, we are also focusing on the individual sides. Like I said, where we give the tools to our sales agent to be able to serve their individual customers and to provide insurance product to them, whether it's car, it's motorbike, it's home, it's health insurance. Our agents will be able to provide the right product for the right customers.
So the last time, you were at the RMIT FinTech Blockchain Forum delivering, a workshop about InsurTech, and you was talking about the value chain of InsurTech, focusing on the three main aspects of analytics-led solution, selling, buying solution, and finally the automation for simplification of the process. So, which of the three sections do you think Papaya stand out the most, and why?
Yeah, I think for now it's the simplification of the process, because our original focus was on a lot of the claim processing. So one example is that we are able to process health insurance claim in less than 24 hours, versus the market standard is around 7 to 10 working days. And you need to mail in hard copy documents, whereas us, the customer, can submit it online, and we have automation to be able to process simple claims very quickly for the customers. So that has been our core focus, and now we are working on the second focus, which is making the buying and the selling of the insurance product much easier for everyone.
Okay, so that's for the papaya side. So how about the general market in Vietnam, the InsurTech companies in Vietnam?
Uh,
What is Vietnam most famous for, like in terms of these three solutions?
famous food. I think the focus on InsurTech in Vietnam's homegrown InsurTech, but also from InsurTech from other countries that enter the Vietnam market, the majority of the business model has been focusing on selling on the distribution side of the insurance product, about different channels and different type of insurance product and how to get it to the hands of the consumer the easiest way. So we see a lot of example in the market, for example, comparison sites like the bank, or you can see InsurTech enable e-wallet to be able to sell insurance on the e-wallet. So on Momo, on ZaloPay, we can purchase insurance on there. That's enabled by some of the InsurTech. So a lot of the focus has been on the distribution side, making buying and selling the insurance product much easier.
So regarding the InsurTech trend, I think since COVID, then InsurTech has surged a lot in terms of value, and people also started to look into the field more. So, but my question is, so the traditional insurance market, they have a lot of big players, like in Vietnam, like 𝘃𝘆 or Prudentials. So are they aware of this trend, and what are they doing regarding this trend? And do they see it as a threat, or yeah, what are they doing?
Yeah, yes. I think the insurance industry is well aware of the need to increase investment in digital innovation from the insurance company. So they has been spending quite a significant amount of funding into enhancing their digital capabilities over the years. Not just local insurers, but also international insurers, building apps for customers, building apps for the agency force, creating new products for the digital commerce space. However, the insurance industry is a highly regulated industry. So for insurtech like Papaya or any other insurtech operating in Vietnam, what we typically do is we partner with the insurance company and we become an extension of the insurers. So we become a new distribution channel for them. And because we're digital native, we are able to move much faster than them and allowing the insurers to reach younger demographics, more digital native customers in a much faster way versus they do it themselves. So in reality, insurers saw InsurTech, particularly in Vietnam, as uh, strategic partnerships, and they want to partner with InsurTech company to give them that digital capabilities, rather than seeing InsurTech as competitor to them.
That's interesting. So basically for Papaya, so you're not an insurance company, like in terms of legal,
Yeah,
then you have to partner with those big insurance providers.
yeah, correct.
Mm.
So in most of Asian countries, to be an insurance company, there's a lot of requirements to become one, because it's a very high capital demanding industry. Except for Singapore and Hong Kong, where they create a special license for insurtech company to get and become an insurance company themselves. Most other Asian countries still require a lot of capital to become an insurance company. So you can see that a lot of the insurtechs in Asia are partners with insurance companies in their home countries.
So are you uh, are you planning to grow Papaya to become an insurance company one day, or
Uh,
will you continue to be a strategic partnership to the traditional one?
Yeah, so I think it's very dependent on the regulatory framework, particularly in Vietnam, the directions of the government in terms of giving up insurance license, whether or not they want to pursue the path of similar to what banking has, right, where they introduce e-wallet license, allowing technology company to come into the payment space. So we remain to be seen where the insurance industry in Vietnam could move towards the directions. So for us, we always keep in mind about the possibility of becoming an insurance company ourselves. But the focus now until there is changes in the regulations that we want to become strategic partners with the insurers here in Vietnam.
So, to continue the flow on, law and regulations. So, do you have in mind like a picture or a prediction for in 5 years regarding the governments to implement laws and regulation to the field?
Yeah, so insurance law in Vietnam has been issued for about 20 years now. But very recently, a new insurance law has been passing through the Congress. And so the new insurance law will become effective in 2023, so about 2 years from now. And there is a few changes that is important for the industry, especially in using digital capabilities to make insurance more accessible to the customers, but also improve the operational process of the insurers. So things like e-contract, e-KYC for the insurance industry has been introduced in the new law. And so I expected in the next 5 years, after the new law has been introduced, there will be a lot more guidance in terms of how do you do digital insurance product, how do you implement innovative insurance product in the upcoming years. And I think the government realized the importance of applying technology to the industry to be able to increase the level of penetration of insurance in Vietnam, because it's very important for the economy that the population increasingly have insurance to protect their financial assets.
So, do you see right there a lot more, opportunities or risk, in your opinion?
I'd say it's a balance of both. Not so much on the risk side. There will be a lot more opportunities for the InsurTechs to grow in the Vietnam market with the new regulation, because previously there was no guidance in terms of how do you do digital insurance in Vietnam. It was not mentioned in the law quite specifically. And so I think with the new regulation coming in, they will create a lot of opportunities because the law is much clearer in terms of how do you do it. And obviously, when the law enable new business model to operate, there will be also requirements for company to meet. So I think for InsurTech, it's important to follow the new regulation, understanding the regulators, what risks they are seeing in the industry, and the requirements that they impose on such company, and make sure that we follow those guidelines. That'll be okay.
Okay, so now I think I'm gonna move to the technology side. So you mentioned, using machine learning and potentially AI, that has significantly increased the efficiency of your process. So can you explain a little bit more about how those technology play out in your company?
Sure. So one example is in the claim process. So traditionally, the claim process has involved a lot of paperwork and also the operation team to look through the documents to determine if your policy could pay for those fees incurred or not. And so that's a very human intensive process. And you need to train people, you need to have rigid process to have that consistency across the claims. And so when we built out the platform to allow the customer to submit those claims through our platform, the first thing we introduced is the machine to read those documents and extract information from those documents that is relevant to the insurance policy, so that we don't need people to actually look through the documents. And then secondly, the machine to learn from our operational team. How do they assess a claim and develop rules on that, so that if similar claims come through, it will be automated decided by the machine instead of having a person to sit there. Because the majority of the health insurance claims is very simple, right? It's very straightforward, and the customer can receive the payout right away. And so introducing the digital workflow to that, we are able to process these simple claims very quickly and automate it without human involvement.
Interesting. So aside that, I've researched about how, there could be algorithm to determine if one person would receive how much in terms of coverage, and also are they able to receive insurance at all? So how is the algorithm written? Is it, in-house in a company, and you guys have a tech team to do that, or you have to outsource it to other companies?
Yeah, so we developed the algorithm in-house, and we have a technology team to build it. And it's a cooperative process between us and the insurance companies, because the claim data is very unique to the product of the insurance company and their portfolio of customers. So for each, we will develop a different models for each of them, so that is suitable for the insurance company, because you cannot really apply one model across all the insurance company, because they all have different perspective when it comes to the claim process for the customers.
So the data privacy is also a big part in this process, right? And then how does Papaya figure out a way to protect these data privacy?
Yeah, so it comes from the design of the process, right? When we analyze the data to develop machine learning and automation, we have to ensure that we remove all the personal identification information. So for example, your name, your ID, your address, because those information is quite irrelevant to determine how much you're going to get paid from your health insurance claims. So we have to do that masking first, and then leave only behind the medical information that is relevant to the claims, so that when it runs through the machine, it doesn't really know which person is that exactly.
So regarding your background, so you have studied about computer science before. So does that really help you in terms of developing the company and taking care of even the tech part as a CEO?
So actually, I didn't study computer science. I took some computer science classes when I was studying industrial engineering. But I think from that background, it helped me in terms of the critical thinking and the mindset of building technology products during that days. So as a CEO, I'm less concerned about the technical details, but the more important things is to show the team why we need to build these things, what challenges we're trying to solve, and what type of value we can bring to the industry. And so I'm fortunate to have talented team members, and they are the one that's figuring out the solution to solve these challenges. Um, I'm the person to give them the context, the resources that they need to do that, and the big picture of why we need to do it. So that's my job as a CEO, not really trying to give them technical details on how to solve a specific problem.
Okay, so I think I want to ask you more regarding your entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the best part about being an entrepreneur? Being on your own, out there doing things you like.
Yeah, I think the best part is um, seeing your products go out in the market and truly create values for everyone involved. It's a very rewarding experience where you work for really long hours, you solve a lot of problems, and you face a lot of challenges being in a startup company. And then after that hard, long process, you eventually find a solution that is of value to someone in the market. And it's a very rewarding process. I would say the journey itself is the most rewarding process of being an entrepreneur. where you get to experience all the ups and downs and then see your your baby come out to the market and provide values to the customers.
So I think when people mention about entrepreneur and stuff, like they usually see like the upside, like a lot of people create big companies and make a lot of money, but then
Yeah.
they don't see like the behind the limelight and
Yeah.
the hard work and the late nights. So is there any particular moment that that is really memorable to you that normally people wouldn't see? Either it's in the company or it's you meeting the customers. Could be anything.
Yeah, so there was a lot of moments like that, and I would like to stress that being an entrepreneur and doing your own startup is a very very tough journey. And so I think one of the most memorable moments it was one of our fundraising round actually. We were excited that we received offer from multiple investors, and we were thinking hard about which ones to choose, which one we want to be our supporter. So we declined one, we accept the other, and then it turns out that they withdraw their offer in the last minute, and the company almost ran out of money, and we were starting our hiring process already. So we make offer to a few new hires, to grow the company, to build new product, and then suddenly the investor that we like withdrew their offer, and then we were in a very tough place, right? We have to say no to our candidates that we spend a lot of time trying to get into the company. And then it also creates a lot of uncertainties within the team, right? Do we have the funding we need to continue this journey? What will happen to us now? So there was a lot of chaos. And so fortunately, in the end, we navigated through the situation. But during that time, during that period, it was very nervous, very challenging, and a very tough place to be.
So what did you do like during that difficult times? Like, did you seek out a lot of help from your colleagues, or what particular things that you do to overcome those challenging period?
Yeah, I think fortunately we had a very dedicated team. Everyone were very committed to the mission and to the product that we built. So they continue to march on despite the uncertainty that whether or not the company still have enough money to pay their salary in the upcoming months or not. And then secondly is I was fortunate enough to have mentors that I could come to ask for questions, people that have been through the journey before. And they gave me a lot of advice in terms of how do you navigate through the situation, what kind of things you need to do, and most importantly, how do you prepare yourself mentally to go through the situation? Because it's easy to give up, right? Easy to think that, that's the end of the line. There's nothing more I could do. But preparing yourself mentally to go through that tough period was important. And I was fortunate to have a network of mentors to help me to do that.
So if you have a chance to go back and build Papaya again, like what would you do differently for the company?
Differently. That's a good question. I think it to spend a lot more time to truly understand more about the market. But back then, I thought that I understand the industry pretty well. Being with an insurance company for 2 years, being their strategy, got to learn from all the executives and observe their experience. And so I thought that we have that strong foundation to start a product and start a business. But through a lot of trials and errors, we realized that in startup, people always wanted to go really fast, right? Just build something, go out for the market, trying to acquire users or customer from it. And there is motto of move fast and break things. and that's good, right? But as a startup, you have limited time and resources. And so you have to choose very carefully what you need to do. Otherwise, before you can see your ideas becomes a real business, you might run out of money, right? Where that's what almost happened to us back then. Right? We almost ran out of money. And so if I could go back and do it again, I could spend a lot more time about my choices as a company, the direction we want to go. And yeah.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for the advices. Um, so another question about advice, since our audiences are really young and most of us are in university and just starting out. So what advice would you give your 20 years old self? Like any advice. What would you say to home in at the age of 20?
um, I could say allow yourself to try new things and not worry so much about where you want to end up in 5 to 10 years. Obviously, if the situation allows, right? Not everyone have that luxury to try it out different things in their 20s. But if you have that, give yourself a chance to try things you have never tried before. In terms of either in life or in a career path, right? You might have a set career path in your mind that you want to go into investment, you want to go into accounting, or you want to do marketing, for example. But during that 20 years old, give yourself a chance to be an intern as something that you might not think of before. And I think those experiences might surprise you about what you really want and what you really like. And it also helped to broaden your view of the world because I think nowadays everything is moving so fast and industry are starting to cross each other's, right? You see a company like Grab become a super app where they offer not just ride-hailing, food delivery, but also financial services products. Um, and so we don't live in a world where if you go down one road, it's only one road anymore, but the road's starting to intersect. So allow yourself a chance to experience different things that you never thought of. Yeah, I think that would be the advice.
Wow. So that's about more of a mindset, right? So in terms of tools that, the young generation have to build for themselves to get them prepared for this digital age and a career in such an, as you say, interdisciplinary world.
Mm.
So what characteristic, what qualities or what skills do you think we should build on?
I think the skills are still those fundamental skills that you need to be able to come into the industry and secure a job in it is, communication becomes very important. And so that's why I said, experience different things so that when you communicate with people from different backgrounds, you appreciate the fact that they have a different point of views on a certain topics. And so as a digital age, we see people from banking, from investment, from traditional industry joining technology companies. For example, in Papaya, we have people who have been in the insurance industry for more than 20 years. We have people that has never done insurance before. And so when we come together and we try to build something, communication is very key in giving each other the point of view and why we are different. So I think communication still remains one of the key skill set that people need, and it's even more important in this digital age for you to understand people from different perspectives and different backgrounds. Secondly, I think is try to learn some coding. That's maybe the second advice I could give my 20 something, try to learn some coding. Not necessarily to become a software engineer as a career, but in this digital age, data and software are so intertwined with everything that we do. that having that background, understanding how software works, understanding how to do data analytics with the codes you have, is so important to be able to work with other teams in this digital age. So I think those two things, communication, try to learn some coding or data analytics, that would really help in the digital age.
Yeah, and that really resonates with me because in fintech clubs we have people from both business background and technology background, and we kind of like provide a playground for these seemingly different people to share knowledge. So the
Yeah,
business students can learn the code, and the tech student can learn to communicate and to work with each other really effectively. So I think that really resonates, yeah, with our club.
yeah,
Um,
that's great.
so I think it's a wrap. Thank you so much today for joining us and giving really valuable insight into the InsurTech market and also, you know, the entrepreneurship journey, which is really inspiring for all of us. And thank you so much for, all the dedication to put out the best product out there for the users to gain a lot of values from the companies. Yeah, thank you so much and hope we could get you in another episode of FinTech Podcast if we have a chance. Yes, and thank
Sure.
you.
To the next episodes of the FinTech podcast, I will become a subscriber to listen to the other episodes because I'm really interested in FinTech and blockchain in general. So we'll definitely follow the podcast.
Thank you so much.